Good afternoon, Megan. How are you today?
Good afternoon. I'm well. How are you?
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to record this portion of the interview.
Of course.
Let's see here. I've got your resume here, and I see that you um, were doing some virtual consulting work. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm a business owner and consultant. I've owned my own business for approximately 10 years. I work with busy professionals who sometimes find themselves overwhelmed and maybe need a little bit of a hand or a little bit of administrative work, taken care of for them. It gets a little overwhelming to be a busy business owner, and I really excel at taking some of the pressure away from these people. So I've been doing that um, in addition to regular employment on my own for about 10 years and really love doing it.
Great. And besides, or I should say, not besides, but in addition to your consulting business, it looks like you do have, goodness, about 20 years of legal admin experience. Can you tell me a little bit about the type of work that you've done?
I have worked in a few different law offices originating in Michigan and moving myself down here to Florida. I have managed a law office and I have been an executive assistant to a firm of attorneys, as well as legal assistant to individual attorneys for many, many years. Um, in a law office, you provide basically administrative skills geared towards the law. So, of course, I'm scheduling hearings, typing, dictating, handling clients and scheduling matters for them as well as for the attorney. Oftentimes, you find yourself handling an attorney's personal life as well as their business life. So, that gives you a little bit more of maybe an executive assistant type of experience. And I learned a lot about scheduling vacations and business meetings and flights as well as anniversary flowers and the little things that you have to do.
Great. What do you think are the most important skills for someone in an executive admin role?
I think that the most important skill of all is to be a good listener and kind of hear what it is that your client is needing from you, take that in, understand it, and be able to push out exactly what they're looking for. That's the only way you're going to keep the business coming in. But aside from being a good listener, I think it's very important to have a good attention to detail, as well as being prompt and, courteous at all times. A lot of times things may not seem as important to you as it is to the person who needs it to be done. So it's always important to be able to gauge the situation well and know how to properly prioritize your projects. I think that those
Okay.
are all very important qualities in an
Sure,
admin
absolutely.
assistant.
Absolutely. Can you tell me about a time that you actually had to perhaps prioritize one project over another and how you would determine um, which project to work on first?
So, when I first moved here, I got a job in South Florida with a medical malpractice firm. And unbeknownst to me, I was assigned to the youngest and only female managing partner in the whole firm. And it's a man's world. So, that women, we really have to work really hard. And she had worked so hard to get there. And she was a really tough personality, real tough cookie. And the expectation was really, really high. And her caseload was just beyond astronomical, like nothing I've ever seen before. And it was my first time working in such a high pressure position. So, for me, at first, it was kind of hard to prioritize everything. And I had to kind of sit down and look at all of these files. And I had to really make a plan for myself. And I think that that is when I really started making plans for every project that I work on. And I make a good timeline for each file. And then you have to kind of look at it. You have to gauge it. You have to gauge your deadlines. You have to know the process that is expected of you. And in building my own processes as to how to deal with those kinds of issues, I was able to kind of come to this place where now I know what is most important, how
Sure.
to determine which task needs to be completed first and which file needs the most attention. It was certainly a lot of trial and error, and I certainly had a lot of feedback, and that was really helpful in kind of being successful in learning how to prioritize my own time in order to prioritize my clients.
Sure. Um, so the last question that I'd like to ask you is based on what's next. So with your skill set, you definitely your skills are very translatable. What does the next position look like for you? What type of business culture are you looking for?
I guess that I would like to branch out a little bit from a law office. I'd like to take the administrative skills that I have and the very strong people skills that I believe I have, and I want to learn how to do maybe something different, maybe a few things differently. Um, I definitely want to be in an inclusive environment that is very diverse and open, to the multitude of people and ethnicities and qualities that we all have here in Florida. I think it's one of the most diverse places that I've ever been. And I would like to be in a more inclusive environment, I think.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to record that portion of the interview, Megan. But don't hang up. We have a few more things to chat about.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.